Thank you very much, and thank you for the kind words. I'm here today not on behalf of Harold Medlock and not on behalf of policing, but on behalf of Mark Harris. I have known Mark as my pastor for the last 13 years. I am thrilled to be able to stand here today and share with you a little bit of what I know about Mark as a man, and that transcends into who Mark is as a pastor. I know Mark as an incredible man of integrity, a man that is a servant leader. Mark is not going to ask anyone to do something that he would not lead from the front do himself. The other thing that I can tell you is that Mark is not afraid to take chances. Over the years we've had what I call some Harold and Mark adventures, and I want to share one of those with you just to talk about the kind of man that Mark is and how he steps out. Many of the folks that are here from First Baptist Church today can share that. 2007, we had two officers that were ambushed and murdered one night in a particularly bad apartment complex in our city. There was a lot of hurt, there was a lot of anger, and there was a lot of anger directed toward that apartment complex. There was only one man responsible for those murders, but a lot of good folks that lived in that complex took the brunt of the blame for that one man's actions. About 5 weeks after the murders and the funerals, Mark called me to his office. And I don't know about you, but being called to the pastor's office is a little bit like being called to the principal's office. So I was a little bit nervous about what I had done or what he had found out. But what Mark asked and what Mark had told me was that he had made the commitment and been convicted that for the next 4 Sunday nights we were going to hold church services in that apartment complex. And one thing I can tell you, Mark is a man that will listen to wisdom, he listens to advice, and he seeks advice, but when he makes his mind up, he's going to do what he has been convicted to do. And I think that's why we're all standing here today. I share with Mark my concerns, and by doing that, I can tell you that I did my best to talk him out of it, because I was afraid for the safety of all of us that went for those Sunday nights. But I want you to know that as a result of what Mark did and how he led our congregation into that apartment complex, it changed the attitudes of many in our city. And it certainly changed the attitudes of the people that lived in that apartment complex. No one else was willing to stand up and take such a leadership role as Mark. And it goes to show his ability as a leader to lead people, lead his people into those areas where we don't always feel so comfortable. Mark is a servant leader. And Mark is going to be a representative of this district. Mark is not going to go be a leader. You know, I hear a lot of times folks in Washington refer to one another as the leaders of the country. They're not our leaders. They work for us. They're our representatives. And we need to hold them accountable that way. And I firmly believe that Mark Harris will be our representative. He will listen to what we have to say. He will meet with those folks that they may not always agree with him. He may not agree with their viewpoint, but he is going to seek wisdom and advice from everyone in this district. I have a great deal of angst over this announcement today because as Mark is making the announcement to run for Congress, he is also leaving our church. And that's a sad day for all of us in First Baptist Church. But Mark is taking a step out on faith. Finally, I want to share this with you. A few months ago, Mark and I were just having a nice conversation. And he asked me to pray for him. And he asked me to pray because God had put the burden of whether he should remain in his calling as a pastor or the calling he felt to run for Congress. And he asked me to pray for that burden to be lifted. That's a hard choice for a man to make. And so he and Beth are stepping out on faith today. and leaving our church and leaving the comfort of having an income because they both feel strongly that this is his time. I've heard Mark say so many times over the years that there's a time and a place for everything, and it's always this phrase, for such a time as this. And so that is what Mark is doing today. He is stepping out, he is hearing the calling to be our congressman for this district. Thank you.